And we are back to another remote edition of the Doing All Right. We appreciate y'all for tapping in with us. Love y'all to pieces. We're going to probably do this remote one more day. And we're going to be back on the roads there. Y'all keep being safe and doing your thing. We got Mr. Bryan Broaddus in studio. What's happening, sir?
I'm doing well, sir. Thank you very much. Coming off a lot of fun working on the East-West game last night, giving the broadcast for that. So it was nice to see those players. It's nice to be we're starting to see the work from the Senior Bowls happening, the weigh-ins, the practices. So a lot of things circling here in the scouting world.
Is that a new jacket, Bryan Broaddus? What you?
Yeah, how about this? If it's, this is it's the color they call is mint. They call this mint, and I was part of the Coca-Cola bowl game season broadcast team. So they gave me, I'm gonna take the opportunity for some free swag. I got to wear some free swag. But if you need swag, you need to go to our website. Really, it's not free. Yeah. But go to Crown Global Media and get you some swag like, my man Voch has on. But yeah, I appreciate a quarter zip. New quarter zips are good to have. You know what? I'll wear them. I'll represent, as they say, right?
I'm so poor, unlike you. I didn't know that things came in the color mint. I learned something new today.
I did not know. I was not expecting to get a mint colored quarter zip. But
all my clothes black, white, navy. I didn't know they made clothes in mint.
I'm always asking you, Voch. I go, what color you want? Man, come on, black, navy. Come on, man. What are you doing? Are you going to get some fuchsia? What are you going to do here? But I'm wearing the mint. I'm wearing the mint look today. Is what I've got going.
Now, Bryan, I've been poo-pooing on the Shrine Bowl for the past couple of days.
Yeah.
Deservedly so. Deservedly so.
Don't do that. They're going to poo on this game. Don't do that.
But Bryan, you had the pleasure of calling the game, and you were pleasantly surprised with some of the people that I think that we weren't going to get to until April, Bryan. Give us like 3 names that we could all look forward to, and I'll write those names down. And everybody else can write those names down.
I appreciate you doing that, Voch. And I'm not doing it just because of calling the game last night, but I know working on the game and being a part of it and getting to watch the practice tape and then being able to talk to the coaches and Lunda Wells of the Dallas Cowboys was the head coach, winning coach of the West team last night. And so to get to talk to the coaches, talk to some of the players, be a part of the game, you kind of get a little bit of invested in it. And, the East-West game for me is one of the very first games I've ever covered. As a scout 34 years ago, I was on the sidelines in Palo Alto, California, watching this game being played. But I went in with the idea of like, okay, the Senior Bowl's got this, East-West has got this. But what's going to happen? And you and Zach Wolchuk last year were on the broadcast of covering practices during this time. And so you kind of got an idea of some guys and saw some guys. I know that Aronze Gadsden, I believe, was a tight end out of Syracuse that you guys talked about that were like, whoa, hey, wait a minute, guys, you got to watch. And I think I had that moment last night with this East-West game. So I'm going to give you a couple of guys that I saw last night. I felt like that Mark Gronkowski, the quarterback at Iowa, I have this vision of Iowa quarterback not being very good. Now we could go back to the days of Chuck Long and, they've had some guys that have played, but I came with the idea of like, listen, their offense, not great, not this, not that. But when you watched him play, when you watched him practice, you saw a little bit of some development, maybe some things you didn't see with him at Iowa. He's got the toughness. You watch him run the football. You watch how he plays. You watch how he kind of approaches the game. You could see that quarterback fire, that little bit of that Josh Allen kind of mentality with the way he plays, with the way he carries himself, the way he runs the football. But he threw the ball in the game last night better than I believed he was ever going to throw the ball. And so to me, these are things that you see as a scout. You're kind of watching the Iowa tape all year and going, gosh, dang, why is he not hitting that? Or why is he not making that play? Well, bang, he finds a way to make some plays in an all-star game. And it was pretty good that way. When you're sitting there thinking about it and you're going, all right, man, this guy is a day 3 deep kind of like developmental, maybe not even drafted quarterback. I think he gave himself an opportunity to get drafted in this football game, and just playing out of this game. C.J. Williams, wide receiver from Stanford, was another one at 6'1" and 200 pounds. You watched him play. You watched him navigate the routes. You watched him get open. You watched him go across the middle. You watched him go along the sidelines. Balls are being thrown to him. He was able to make some plays in this game and, give himself an opportunity for scouts to say, okay, where does he kind of fit? Stanford is a team that was a little bit down this year. They've been down the last several years. But you look at where talent is coming from, and out there as an ACC player, he is a guy now that I'm going to have to go and get and make sure that he's part of the 230 guys that I'm going to evaluate this year. When you also look, I was looking also at on the defensive side of the ball. There's on the east side there was a young man named Mason Rieger from Wisconsin. Here's a guy that showed up a little bit in the one-on-one pass rush drills. Then when they were doing 2-on-2, he's a guy that's kind of a looper, getting in. But I tell you what, they had a really hard time blocking him last night. He's from Wisconsin. He's a linear built guy. He's got some get off to him. He covers a lot of ground. They had a hard time with him last night. And then we got Wesley Williams. Was another guy we were on the opposite side of what Rieger was playing. They had a hard time blocking him. He's from Duke. And so now you're like, we're adding names to this list. We're going to get to the 200, 230 guys that we're going to evaluate, but here are guys that have kind of put themselves in position to be able to make plays, to be able to make plays in this game. So you say, well, maybe I need to go take a look at him. The final guy I want to talk about is, I thought all these running backs did a pretty nice job. Donaldson, I'm talking about the West team, Donaldson from Ohio State, Harden from SMU, Dean Connors from Houston, I thought did a nice job. But the one that showed up to me was, and on the broadcast last night, we voted Dom Richardson from Tulsa as the MVP of the game. And if you go back and watch him play in that game, man, there is an element of physicality. There is some downhill running. There is running through arm tackles. There's running over safeties. Voch Lombardi last year gave you Krosky Merritt as the guy you need to look at. Hey, check out Krosky Merritt. Krosky Merritt was the MVP of the Shrine Bowl last year. Here's a guy that got drafted, went to the Commanders, and had a little nice rookie season. So Dom Richardson from Tulsa could be the next guy. But man, I love the physicality that he played with in this football game last night, Voch.
Brian, it's interesting because I do wave my finger at the top 300 Shrine Bowl guys, but
sure.
If there's a rate of like success or whatever, right? Like just late round picks, It's always the running backs. The running backs, these pass rushes that we never heard of, maybe like those are always or like these D tackles that may be two down players, but they're really good run down players, but they don't get drafted highly because they can't pass rush or whatever.
Right.
Like those guys fall in the seventh all the time. Think about last year, man. We were looking at a ton of running backs that we like, whether it be Krosky Merritt, Allen from Syracuse, the running back from Miami. It was a lot of guys that just ended up falling. And it's always the running backs, Brian. So we gonna keep eyes on that for sure. Because because whichever one of these running backs ranked in the 200s could be the next superstar. Like it's always like that.
Yeah, the thing that I appreciate about the All-Star games is there's guys that I probably weren't going to get to. Maybe and listen, I made a mistake on Puka Nacua. I look at 230 players and I don't watch Puka Nacua. That's a mistake. So maybe some of these guys that maybe I'm like, I don't know if I can get to this guy. I mean, we've got so much time. And, you and I do a lot of these, a lot of podcasts, we do a lot of work, a lot of things we're trying to kind of fit in the film, which we love to watch. But now my goal is to say the guys that I just talked about, I need to go out and now do my due diligence. Maybe Dom Richardson at Tulsa is not a good player. Maybe he doesn't run with toughness and power and all those things. But maybe he does. maybe this is a guy. That's what I love about these all-star games, that they're going to be somebody that we weren't thinking about initially, maybe in our 200 or our 230, how many we evaluate, and now we have to make it a priority, put them on there because teams are making the priority. And what we try and do here at Crown Global Media with all our platforms is that make sure that you know these players. So when you're watching these guys, whether it's a Dallas Cowboys player or a player at the Tennessee Titans or the Houston Texans, whoever, you know who you drafted and you know your team. That's what our goal is. That's what we strive for every day. So I'm going to have to put these East-West guys on my list to do, Voch.
Man, Bryan, I was watching this Domonique Orange cat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
There's already some names in this thing, you know what I mean? But right. Domonique Orange, the D lineman from Iowa State, the D tackle from Iowa State. Let me just kind of run this by you and ask you this, Bryan.
Yeah.
When you have a bunch of defensive tackles, and they all like really athletic, right?
Yeah.
How do you rate the guys that do the D tackle things really well, but they may not be as athletic as some of the other guys? Here's my example. Caleb Banks probably going to be a one tech.
Right.
Super athletic. Caden McDonald, one tech. He's really athletic. Washington from Oregon went back to school, but when we were watching him, we thought of him as a second round player.
Yeah, Amari
Washington, because he's a D tackle that's big as hell, strong as hell, and he's athletic. All right, cool. Two guys I want to ask you about. Your man's Daniel Jeremiah had Lee Hunter in the 20s on his stack. Yeah. Real high.
Yeah.
You like Lee Hunter. I like him a bunch too.
Yeah.
But he's not as athletic as those top guys, right?
I think that I think he's a better athlete. Okay, when you start to talk about one technique, 325-pound defensive tackles,
sure.
Give me your version of athlete. Give me your version. Is it the upfield? Is it the lateral? Is it the attack gap? Where are you on the athletic part of those things?
So for somebody that size, they don't have to be Aaron Donald, because Aaron Donald is like weird athletic. Like that's different.
Yeah.
I think the perfect example is Tyleik Williams last year, Bryan. Tyleik Williams is like the perfect kind of athletic for me, to where, you're not going to make the sideline plays. You'll be playing edge if that's the case, right?
Right.
But as a bigger dude, are you just trash can full of dirt guy, right? No. Like, can you move around a little bit?
Yeah.
And there's some guys on this list that can't move around a little bit. Yeah. I think Lee Hunter got a real high motor, and he moves around decently for his size. I wouldn't call him a super athlete, though. For example, this is a perfect example. Watch this. Spencer Fano from Utah is a phenomenal athlete at tackle. Caden Proctor is a great athlete for his size.
For his size, absolutely. 366, yeah.
You see, it's different. But there's another 360-pound tackle in this stack somewhere that's not as athletic as Caden Proctor, that I wouldn't feel great putting a 2 on, because they're not as athletic as Caden Proctor. So my thing about Domonique Orange, I think he's big as hell, strong as hell. First of all, anchors really well, great base, stays square, doesn't get turned. I don't think he'll get moved if he just move on his own, like sideways or whatever, but I don't think he gets turned all that much, Bryan. Powerful strike in his hands. I think he got quick hands. Like when he's coming off the line of scrimmage, that ain't bad, by the way. The get off ain't bad, by the way. But when he's coming off, fast swipe of the hands, fast club of the hands, fast punch to the chest, or whatever he's doing with his hand. His hands are fast. I just don't think of him as the same footed athlete or the same movement type athlete. I think he has a lot of great effort on his, on his part. Like he makes the run around plays, the try hard plays or whatnot. But I'm not seeing the athleticism that I'm seeing from some of these other guys. But I really, really like him as a 2-down D tackle, run stopping, gap plugging guy, Bryan. I'm just asking you, where do you have him, a guy that does all the D tackle stuff really well, but maybe doesn't have some of the same physical athleticism as some of these other guys?
I have him near the bottom of all those of the guys you're talking about. And I tell you what, I do appreciate Orange's ability, how close he plays to the center. He's literally breathing the same air as the center. He's that close to his nose. And the way he plays, I do I think he could be a nightmare for a center that's lighter, and they'll struggle with a guy that's this weight. They'll struggle with him, and then, you will see him move, down the line of scrimmage, but it's not like the other guys. It's not like, I think he's a better player just going forward than he is going lateral. I think you don't see him redirect. There's some of these other guys, like I could see with Hunter and McDonald and guys like that, where you see the actual redirection, where you see them like balls, they're full to the right, and now ball goes the other way, and now they're getting rid of guys and going to their left. You don't always see that with Orange. I think he is kind of committed to, I'm going to play straight ahead, I'm going to control the center, and then I'm going to kind of play in my space here. And if they come in my area, then I'm going to have a chance to make the play that way. But there's not a lot of pass production in this guy, or pass rush, and it's all push, and it's really just power. And so to me, this guy is like when they talk about the old school true zero technique noses. This guy kind of fits in that mode. I'm kind of more nowadays, and we've seen it through the guys that we've done and studied so far. We've seen 325-pound guys play down the line of scrimmage, play into the B gap, play outside the tackle box, get up the field, be a penetrator. I don't think that Orange is that guy, but man, if you want that, what you just said, that trash can full of dirt type guy, this is the guy that you want to draft.
So, Bryan, just kind of how I have it, and just tell me if I'm tripping, right?
Uh-huh.
I got the really athletic tackles. We just talking about one techs right now, right?
Right.
I got McDonald 1, and I got Banks as my second one tech.
Okay.
Because Miller and Woods are 3s to me, right?
Okay.
But I got those guys in the 2s because they're athletes, and I might move Banks because he don't know how to play tackle just yet.
Okay.
I put Lee Hunter as a high 3rd because I don't think he's as athletic as those guys, but he does move around a little bit. So in my mind, the Domonique Orange guys that probably aren't going to be moving that well, I got those guys in the 4th. Is that fair, or is that kind of weird on my part?
No, not weird on your part at all. I mean, you have a plan for how you want to play these guys, and in some ways, I'm different from you. I kind of think about Christian Miller. I kind of think about him as a 1. I think about McDonald as a 1. I've got Hunter right in that mix with those guys. Now, Banks is the wild card to me because there is some times where you see that guy that's getting rid of people, making plays, getting penetration. You see that. It just doesn't happen all the time. I think Darrell Jackson, and I know we haven't talked about him, and here's a guy that I picked up from the East-West game, and then he didn't play in the game. He's from Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Not from Cincinnati. He's from Florida State. You watch him play, and you see the push, the upfield, the lateral stuff, and all that. I've got him above Banks and Orange and those types of guys. I like Hunter a lot more than you do. I think that Hunter is kind of this guy that I see, like when centers, he's using his hands, he's getting rid of guys, he's swimming around guys. I see this type of a player when you watch him that I'm thinking, man, he is a little bit more of an athlete than for his size. He's really a really good athlete that way. So I'm different in you and where I have the 1s and the 3s, and maybe a little bit different on where you see the abilities, but that's cool. I think everybody's kind of different. The Peter Woods to me is the clearest 3 technique, and the 3 technique is plays on the outside shoulder of the guard, as we all, as we walk through these things. The 1 techniques are really on the inside shoulder or head up. But I kind of have McDonald, Miller, and Hunter in a group. And then I have the guys Banks, Jackson, Orange would be kind of, and I have those 3 guys, Banks, Orange, Jackson. I have them in the 3rd round.
If you remember, you ain't got to go look, but where did you have Toia last year? Jay Toia last year.
I think Jay Toia, and I'm trying to remember let me see where I would have to pull up my board from last year to be able to do that. But Jay Toia, I want to say, and man,
if you had to guess, you ain't got to go and move around it.
I think I had Jay Toia like in the 5th round is where I had him. Do you see?
Okay.
So you're thinking that maybe that Hunter and Orange and those guys are more kind of 4th, 5th round players is what you're thinking?
I'm just trying to sift through it because if I remember Toia and what I thought about him at UCLA, I thought he was a powerful dude that came off the line of scrimmage that could run around for his size. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So he's going to be similar to some of these guys, not like a super athlete, but Jay Toia did have a lot of high effort and a lot of running around. Yeah. I'm just wondering how to get a good hold on stacking these tackles compared to like previous classes though. I like Hunter. He might end up being like a late 2, early 3 kind of guy for me. I don't think I'm gonna change him too much. I just want to make sure that I'm charging the right price for the athleticism on the big dudes. You know what I mean?
That you're, and I think the thing you're trying to be is consistent, and I appreciate that about it. I'm pulling up my scouting report or my notes from Jay Toia. Let me see if I can get it to work here the right way. And there's Williams, there's Walker. Man, we had a lot. Oh, Jay Toia, massive nose. Okay, we had him at 6'2", 342 pounds. And so first initial quickness, powerful. You see blockers get knocked back. He plays with really good power and strength. Not a long arm guy. His movements is not poor for his size. You'll see him play down the line of scrimmage, up the field, chase the ball. He's got nose tackle thickness, battles all kinds of blocks, will penetrate, cause problems. He has some start, stop, then restart. He's likely to get stuck if he has to. He's likely going to get stuck on the line. The more he can keep moving, the better chance he has of making a play. The wider teams go on him, the more problems he's going to have. He's not going to have sack numbers that only had 2 in 3 seasons. Ideally needs to play a scheme where he could be like a 0 technique or a 1 technique, but he will, and I said this in the last line, will surprise you with his athletic ability.
Yeah.
So it's
interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting that way because he sounds like he reads better than some of the guys that I have personally. And again, I need to go back and see where I have him. I thought just off the rip, I thought I had him in the 5th round there. I need to go back and look at where that's at.
We'll continue to talk about it and, break those things down and, figure it all out. I just thought it was interesting, Brian.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I say, I don't disagree with how, because I think the 1 technique position is we're starting to see it be more a part of what teams are trying to do. So yeah, you got to figure out a way to make sure you evaluate those guys the right way. But I need to go back and see, and maybe it is an adjustment on the board. Hey, do you have a guy too high, or do you have him in the wrong stack? I mean, maybe I need to go back and study all my 325-pound guys, and where did you have them, and how do their notes read as compared to the guys that we've seen in the past at these positions, and how have these 325-pound guys played going forward?
Brian, I was supposed to let you talk about Julian Neal first, but Brian, can I please tell you about Julian Neal, Brian?
Go ahead. You can tell me about Julian Neal.
I got an idea about Julian Neal, the cornerback from Arkansas.
Yeah, Arkansas.
I got an idea about Julian Neal, Brian. First of all, Cowboys gonna like him because he's tall as hell and he got long arms.
He does at that. Yes, he sure does.
What, like 6'2", something like that?
6'2", 208, yeah.
Brian, I don't think Arkansas put him in perfect position to be who I think he's gonna be.
Yeah.
I think this dude is a cover 3 corner, Bryan Broaddus.
Uh-huh.
They asked him to do some man things that was cool. And honestly, he can do the man things kind of fine. I thought he was a little stiff, so I don't want him chasing people around and doing man stuff all the time, Brian. Mm-hmm. But when he has an opportunity to run up the sideline and be tall and long and play deep ball stuff, Brian, I thought that was some of his best work because he ain't got to think about inside work. He's turning and running. He's being tall. He's being long, and he's finding the football in the air. Some I noticed, Brian, they had him on the boundary a lot.
They did.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep, they sure did.
They had him on the boundary a lot. and I kind of want to say Abney as well, and we're gonna talk about him later. But these are guys where I clearly notice they're switching sides and they're on the boundary a bunch. And me and you talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Why would you have a field corner do this, or why would you have a boundary corner do this?
Right.
Well, because if he's a less of an athlete, or if his hips are a little tighter, maybe he's better navigating less space and working the sidelines a little bit more, Brian. So the thing about Julian Neal, what I hated is when he was in man coverage to the field side with a whole bunch of space, I didn't think he was all that great. I saw him in the nickel like 4 or 5 times. It wasn't a whole bunch, but he wasn't that great there. But Brian, he was really good when he was working them sides, and he was on the short side of the field, and he got a chance to run downfield, and he didn't have to turn very much, because I think he can't turn all that good, just in my mind. But I think he can get backwards quick, back to the sideline quick, and he could be tall and long. Brian, I think Julian Neal is my first of the year of the dude that play a whole bunch of man, but his tall ass is a cover 3 corner for real, Brian. He's my first of the year. What you think?
You know what? I like what you said. I was when I was watching him play, I was actually pretty impressed by how he plays the ball. This guy gets his hands on footballs. He's not always going to get interceptions. I mean, but I was impressed with his ability to stay in phase and be able to run with receivers. I was like, man, how fast is this guy really? How fast is he? But you look at how he plays. Like when there's a contested ball, he's generally making a play on a contested ball. I was pretty impressed with his ability to kind of work around with the length. Like they would run a route inside on him and maybe hook up, and he would drive, and then he would come around and knock the ball. A lot of times you see these guys drive through and they play through the back of the receiver. Then all of a sudden it's flag for illegal, for pass interference. But this guy had a feel for how to pedal and then close and then play around the receiver. So I kind of saw him playing at depth. I saw a guy that you mentioned about the deep ball. He got his head around. When the ball is in the air, you talk about tracking it and finding it, and so I was pretty impressed about that. I didn't think this guy was going to let a receiver get a cheap catch on him. I think that he was going to find a way to drive on the ball, to knock a ball down. I thought he was going to battle with this. I kind of felt like that. To me, when you watched him play too, there was times where all of a sudden, I call it being a loose player. In his case, it's kind of being an aware player, that all of a sudden, like, he reads a route and his guy stops, and now there's a route inside where it's a vertical route, and they got safety on the other side that's trying to struggle to get over, and he just immediately just says, okay, they're not throwing this route, they're throwing this route, and then now he's downfield making the play. I was pretty impressed with his awareness. I was impressed with his length. I was impressed with the coverability. I thought the tighter he played to the formation, like you said, the better that he was. So I was struggling with him in a way of where to put him, and I was thinking, because I really do like the group of Hood and Abney, who we're going to get to talk about, from Arizona State. I really do like Pons from Indiana. I think I have him over Everett, the Georgia corner, is where I had. So I was looking at this guy as a 3rd-round player. If in fact how does that sound with you?
I got him in the 3s. I got him behind Rivers from Duke, Abney from Arizona State.
Okay, so you got Abney in the 3rd. Okay.
I got Abney third.
Okay.
And then I got Neal, and then I got Everett. My second round corners are Hood and Terrell. I could possibly move Rivers up that, though.
Yeah.
I think Rivers could end up in the 2.
I haven't seen Rivers yet, but I understand that I need to get on that one. Yeah.
Rivers, nice. Take your time. It's all on schedule. We good to go.
But I was glad to hear that, like you said, I was glad to hear that you had him over Everett. I like this player. I think there's something with the length. I think the smarts, and
he could tackle too, Brian. He could tackle his ass off.
I mean, he tackles. He comes forward. I mean, I've seen him wrap up. I've seen him grab and sling guys out of bounds. So to me, that's a guy that's using his size and his length in order to make plays.
Okay, cool. I just had to lead that one off, Brian, because I was a fan of the player, and I love telling these college coaches that get paid a bunch of money that you ain't doing right by this player.
The wrong way. Yeah,
you're doing the wrong thing, coach. Brian, tell us about Nick Singleton at running back, and then I'm gonna tell you why I'm having a problem with running backs. Go ahead.
Okay, I think the thing with Nick Singleton is that I was really impressed with. First off, his size is pretty impressive for him. He's 6 foot, 221 pounds. He looks thick when you watch him on tape. The USC, Indiana game, Nebraska. This guy does. He plays with a burst for the position. You could see him all of a sudden. They like to hand him the ball, and he could take it inside, or he could take it to try and bounce it to the outside. There's plenty of plays where you watch him play to the outside or get the ball around the corner and then able up the field. There's all these metrics I was reading about him earlier that say, oh, well, he has this speed and that speed. But there's times where you see him get caught. But you see the initial burst and you see the speed to and through the hole. But then the longer that the run goes, the chances are that he's probably going to get caught. But he runs with an attitude I like about that. I love the way he plays. He's going to run through tackles. He's like a hard guy to stop or to get stopped when he's got a head of steam. For a big guy, he does a nice job. I think there was some tight space running where he had to kind of jump to make a little jump cut and then get to a hole and then get up through it. I thought he did a pretty good job of that. Penn State's got one of these teams that likes to pull their linemen, so you can kind of see the patience with his ability to kind of get behind the blockers and then get up the field as well. So I kind of feel like that he was really better as more of a straight ahead runner than maybe a guy that's got the wiggle. And maybe at 6 foot, 221 pounds, it's kind of hard to have that kind of wiggle. But this guy, I'll tell you what he's really good at is catching the football. This guy will make some plays in the passing game. When you watch him, and they'll use him in the passing game. Like you'll see him, like they get tight red zone, they'll throw the ball to him into the end zone like they're throwing fade routes and stuff like that. They believe in this guy and his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. I saw a really soft-handed player here in that regard. So I thought that you could see him in the open field, be able to adjust to wherever the ball was. Really great job of doing that. And so, but I have some questions about the long speed. I believe his speed's good enough. I wouldn't call it great, but I love how physical he is with the ball in his hands.
Brian, you're not wrong at all. Where the hell do you put a guy like this?
I got him in the third round, and I've seen we've got what we got Johnson from Nebraska. We haven't talked about him. Price from Notre Dame, he's the backup to Love. He doesn't get a lot of opportunities, but the ones that he does get are pretty solid. I got Singleton there, and then I got Coleman from Washington behind them. So I've kind of got it, as Bill Parcells would say, I got them stacked in there like club sandwiches. Maybe somebody runs a little different. I think Emmett Johnson from Nebraska is probably going to run a really good 40 time. I'm sure people will probably have him elevated. Price, they'll probably say, wow, not much wear and tear on that guy. As a back, if he was somewhere else, he might be a guy that we're talking about, even a higher round guy. And then Singleton and Coleman. I think Coleman is the one guy that I really like from Washington. He's a shorter guy, but what he does and what he's really, really good at is pass protection. He is one of these, like, you can throw it to him. He's good with that. You can hand it to him. He's okay with that. But you watch the blitz pickup stuff like that. Someone's going to fall in love. Even though being 5'9", someone's going to fall in love with the way that he's kind of got some complete back to him. But I have Singleton behind Johnson and Price in the third round.
Brian, I think last year it was so easy to grade those backs.
It was.
Because they were all kind of different. They all did their thing.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And the few running backs I've seen, they may have a trait or two separating them from the other guy. You know what I'm saying? So I really don't have a good feel where to put these guys. So I got Coleman and Singleton both in the threes. Okay. But I don't have that much kind of separating them. Like Love's a one. Yeah. Because Love is totally different than what they got going on.
Right.
But are these guys really like fours, but we just putting them as threes? You know what I'm saying?
You know,
like I'm just having a hard time stacking them up there.
Yeah, I think that they're probably closer to 1.40s than there are closer to being 1.30s. You know, and I say that in the grading scale, the 1.30 being the top of the third round, the 1.40 would be the top of the fourth round. I wouldn't be surprised as we get more information about these guys. I do like Johnson a lot from Nebraska. I don't think I'm going to move him unless, you know, I just kind of, you know, as I start to stack, maybe the notes go back and read. Do the notes read better? But right now, I'm having a hard time getting somebody in the second round on my board as far as as the way it looks, because I've got Johnson, Price, Singleton all there. You're probably right. These Singleton and Coleman are probably closer to fourth round guys. And the more we kind of dig in, talk to scouts around the league, they might say, yeah, you got those guys a little bit too high. And maybe you have to make an adjustment there. But closer to like 1.38, 1.39 than they are 1.30s.
Yeah, I feel you. And Brian, tell us what you think about Keith Abney.
Yeah,
cornerback from Arizona State, Brian. What you think about him?
Yeah, Keith Abney is, you mentioned him from Arizona State. Let me pull up my notes on the old Keith Abney here. You know, people were like, guys, you got to watch this guy. You got to watch this guy, you know, and I'm like, okay, I'm on him. I'll do it. I promise you I will. But he's from Arizona State, as we mentioned. He's from Waxahachie, Texas. So he's down the road from us here in the DFW area. You'll see him play left cornerback for the Sun Devils. This guy, interesting, and I learned this about him. He's got a roller skating background. And I'm talking about a roller skating background, not like you, Voch, not when you used to go and like, you know, and skate around and be that guy.
Never.
This guy is a champion speed skater on roller skates. This guy is so we're talking burst and lower body power and stuff like that. He's 6 foot, he's 190 pounds. And so, you know, I'm watching him, I'm thinking, okay, is this a guy? Because if you're thinking a guy, you look at most speed skaters, whether it's ice or whatever, they have got big, I mean, they're big in the lower body. And this guy, I think, has a little bit of that to him as well. I've seen him run ball carriers down in the open field. I think there's a physical, competitive style he plays with in man coverage. I think he plays through the stem. When you see when they get downfield on routes, you see him adjust. You see him play through that. He always is processing to try and get to the right spot. I think he does a really good job of attacking catch points as a player with his timing, his footwork. I think there's some smoothness to it. The transitions are impressive. I think you could line him up, tight him, or play him off. And he did have a play against TCU where he came downhill and he took on a back in the hole. And so you see that. You see that physical side of his game. You'll see him pass off routes in zone while maintaining depth. I think that was pretty impressive, his ability to mirror to match. There's some twitchy adjustments to this guy. I think he played really well along the sidelines. You know, like I said, he is a kind of a boundary corner guy that they uses that side of the field as that extra defender. But his willingness to be a run supporter really kind of jumps off the film and the way he's able to trigger that way. So at 6 foot, 190 pounds, the measurables I'm working on right now, we need to incorporate what we got from the Senior Bowl stuff and see if the guy is bigger or smaller as we continue the process.
100%, Brian. What I noticed about him is that he was just on that boundary side again. Just both these guys back to back, we were watching them. Neal and Abney, they were just boundary guys. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Think about Abney, and Abney's another, you know, tackler, by the way, solid tackler. I think he's cool in zone, though, Brian.
Yeah.
I think he's cool in zone. I don't think that's what he does best, but I think he cool in zone. What he does really, really good, Brian, is press man and off man.
Yeah.
I think that's what he's really, really good at. It's like, I think in zone, maybe he'll give too much depth sometimes. And that may be what they, you know, coach him to do over there. But him giving too much depth, he doesn't always have a feel to react and come down after getting too much depth.
Yeah.
The thing about about off man is he gives just the right amount of cushion, Brian, just the right amount to go break and make plays, whether it be breaking inside or working to the outside. So maybe it's just spacing thing, and he could be good at both, but he just needs coaching in both. But him putting hands on somebody and kind of running around with him, defending the inside routes and all that kind of stuff, Brian, I think that's what he's really, really good at. Let's see what I got. Mirrors really well, IDs the routes really well too, Brian. Like right before the routes happen, I wouldn't call him like a gambler, but like if he sees it, like he's on it real fast. And played a bunch in the boundary, and when they throw bubbles to his side, he goes to get them. He goes to get them. Very, very aggressive on them bubbles, Bryan Broaddus. I like Abney. You said you had him in the third round?
No, I have him in the second round. Actually,
you got him in the second round?
I have him. Cool. I have him behind Hood. So if you look at my second round stack,
and Terrell's a 1 for you, is what you said.
Yeah, and exactly right. I've got 4. If I just to walk through them for you, Voch. McCoy, Tennessee would be my first corner. Delane, LSU, my second corner. Cisse, South Carolina, my third corner. And Terrell from Clemson with the fourth. Those are my 4 corners, first round grades. Second round grades on the stack as we look at it. Hood from Tennessee did a great job yesterday in the Senior Bowl stuff and the practices. You can go back and watch that. That was really some nice work there. Abney, who we were talking about from Arizona State, would be next in my stack. And then Pons from Indiana would be my third corner. We were going to get to him at some point in time as well.
I've seen a bunch of Pons. I got to get them on my board. I haven't put them up there because we haven't talked about them quite yet. Abney, man, Brian, wait till you see Rivers, man. You're gonna like Rivers a lot.
Well, okay. How will Rivers compare to how will Rivers, will he be a possible first round player, or is he kind of in that mode of is he on my board behind Hood and Abney? Where would he
Brian, you remember last year we was watching Maxwell Harrison, Kentucky.
Yeah.
And we was like, hey man, he's a good player, but he kind of small. Yeah. He might go in the second or third round or something, and then draft night he goes first round.
Right.
I think you could see some of that same shit in Rivers from Duke. Okay. That dude can play, he can cover, he physical, he thumping the shit out of people with his little bitty ass. He thumping everybody, Brian.
Gotcha.
But he's small.
All right.
And he might be a nickel guy. But
small,
and this would be a conversation.
Pounds is 5'9". I mean, that's the measurements we were working on. Is he that small? Is he a 5'9", 5'8" guy? What are we dealing with here, Voch? See,
Pons is okay, so that's fair. Pons is small.
Yeah.
Rivers is more short and thick.
Okay.
He's more short, short and thick. Yeah. So like when he's thumping people or whatever, like you notice him thumping people. Let me see. I got it right here. He is, if it load up for me, he is so he 5'10", 185. That's still bigger than Pons. That's like 15 pounds bigger than Pons.
That's official Senior Bowl measurement right there.
That is not Senior Bowl. That's just on his just on his profile. I can't find that, by the way. I can find that. But I like Rivers a lot. And maybe we could talk about this on our Q&A day tomorrow, whatever, Brian. But these new coaches that's emphasizing nickel corner now.
Yeah.
And we've heard a lot about this because we going through coaching changes.
This is new for us because we talked about pin and pull last year at this time, right? We were talking about
pin and pull, and we got a pin and pull guy. And now we're going to talk about important nickel
corners. Yeah, here we go. I see what we're doing.
So I don't know. I wonder if these coaches are thinking about nickel guys, like just go get a good nickel guy like Jordan Lewis, or do you want like a taller nickel guy like Bland, or do you want like a safety really playing nickel? Like, because I just watched Thieneman.
Yeah,
from Oregon. That son of a bitch can play some nickel too, bro. You know what I'm saying?
This. I'm so happy that you said this. The Oregon safety, because I think that we're going to have an interesting group, this is where Downs is clearly the guy. Now, where's everybody else, Phil? You know me, my love for Scott from Miami. You know I have second round love with Thieneman from Oregon. You're trying to convince me about Halsey from LSU, and then McNeil Warren, Daniel Jeremiah in a mock draft at 18 to the Minnesota Vikings. He's going to try and replace Harrison Smith. He puts Emmanuel McNeil Warren, hyphenated name, in there at 18. I think this is an interesting group of safeties, and it's killing me right now not to have a day 2 pick.
Yeah.
Because
I can't. Yeah, go ahead.
Now, I mean, and maybe I wonder if Dallas were to trade back into the first round, trade back within the first round. And I know we're a show here trying to talk about everything here, but if I'm just focused on Dallas here right now, if they were to trade back from 20, would they take a safety with the trade back pick? Like, say they traded back to 26.
Yeah.
Would they consider taking a safety there at that spot? Or are you going to take, I kind of feel like that 12 is going to be a corner. I just have that feeling. And nothing I know, but I have a feeling that they're going to dress corner at 12. And let's see what happens at 20. But I wonder if the trade back would make them take a safety out of this thing.
Brian, let me tell you why I know for sure.
With the guys you're talking about.
Let me tell you why I know for sure they're going to trade back from 20.
Yeah. Oh, you think they are going to trade back from 20?
Breaking news. Let me tell you, per Voch Lombardi, let me tell you why I know they're going to trade back from 20.
Why is that?
Because Jerry Jones got to be right. Because that's the Packers pick.
Yeah.
So Jerry want that pick to be 3 more people.
Yeah.
So that increases the likelihood. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So when we look back on it, it ain't just going to be, oh, well, Jerry Jones and his Michael Parsons trade, he ended up with Quentin Williams and Kenny Clark and whoever this planet. Jerry wants 3-4 more people to add to that list for them for that safety or that running back to hit so that they can be like, oh, yeah, I won the Michael trade. I bet they're going to trade 20 back. I bet they're going to trade back from 20.
You might be right about that when you've been right a lot. I appreciate that.
Is true.
About you. That is true.
That is true. Ryan Broaddus, I appreciate y'all.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate
having this work for me, man, being flexible, you know what I'm saying? Appreciate you, sir. This whole thing is still iced up, Brian. It ain't even snow no more. It's just big blocks of ice out here. But I appreciate you.
I appreciate
your work.
Yeah, I appreciate too with Zach Zach Rowe, our engineer, coming in, and Caitlin Johnson and all that. Everybody that's making this possible so we can have content. I know one damn thing, Voch, DallasCowboys.com ain't having any content up right now.
Hey, man, talk that shit, Mr. Bro. Talk to that people.
No, I love you, Derek Eagleton. But
Bryan Broaddus whooping feet over there. You ain't wrong.
No, we're happy, man. I mean, we've got some folks that we believe in it. We believe in this content over here at Crown Global Media. We do, and it's important to us. It really, really is. Thank you, guys.
Fair enough. Go to the website, crownglobemedia.com. Later on today on the socials, I'm going to be putting out tweets because we're going to do Q&A tomorrow. So we're going to let y'all ask some questions, and me and Broad is going to go through them all. Like I said, on crownglobemedia.com, you can get you some merch like what I'm wearing right now. You can get a tumbler like Brian's tumbler that's normally up there, but it ain't right now.
Yeah.
It's all good. But go up there, whatever logo. Look, if you want to take this logo off and put on the stack, put on Doin Alright, whatever logo you want, you know what I mean? Go over there, tap in, get your shirt, hoodie, quarter zip, Scout Side, all that kind of stuff. Tap in with us. Appreciate y'all. That is Crown Global Media on Twitter because Bryan Broaddus still ain't working. And I'm Voch Lombardi on social medias as well. Appreciate y'all for tapping in with us, and we'll catch y'all tomorrow. Crown.